Hello everybody, my name's Assidious98 and today I'm going to be teaching you how to play one of the strongest killers in Dead by Daylight. The Hag is insanely strong, she can pretty much deal with any Swift and you're almost guaranteed a 3 or 4k every single game as long as you play her right and you understand how to play her. Now what I'll do is I'll break down the build as we go through the matches and I'll explain everything that I'm doing so you've got a really good understanding on how to beat any Swift or solo queue, any team that you come across with the Hag. Now the Hag is a defensive killer, so you do need to understand on looking for your 3 gens and setting up. Now the first 30 seconds of the match is probably going to be dedicated to you setting up your traps, getting up a good web and identifying your 3 gens. So as you can see here, we're looking at the generators to make sure that we've got a nice 3 gen around us. We have, so what we start to do is create a web around the 3 gen, so when the survivors enter it, we've already got traps there and we don't have to waste time setting up. It's a really dangerous area for them to enter. Now the first chase is always important with any killer, and with this Nia you can see we tried to corral her into our traps rather than chasing her away. We delayed the hit until she started running towards our traps, but somebody did step into our web, so we went straight over there to defend it because that was the better idea. You always want to keep your web nice and secure and dangerous for the survivors to enter if possible. Bonus tip for the Hag, if you do get baited into a chase like we did here, just put a trap down on one of the routes that they can run and you'll force them away from the loop. That way you can catch them a little bit faster, as you can see what we've done with Felix just here. Now once you actually secure the down, just like we have, it's really important that you think about where you're hooking the survivor. So if you watch this, we look around, we try to hook them inside of our pre-made web. This is a good hook to go for because it's right near our web, so we can also cut off the routes. So we cut off that lane there and then we put a trap a little bit away from the hook so that the survivors have to crouch a little bit further and they're more likely to trigger the actual trap when they go for the rescue. Now good survivors are going to try and disarm your traps when you're idle or you're chasing another survivor when they've got the opportunity. Don't let that pull you into a part of the map where you have no traps set up. It is really important that you defend your area of the map and try to do the least amount of chasing possible. Now what we can use is the Hag's teachable perk, which is called Hex Ruin. You probably came up against it before, but while survivors are trying to disarm your traps or go for rescues, that means they're not on generators, and any generators that they have been on are currently losing progress, so that is nice to know. Now you'll see in this clip that we actually managed to get a double down, and that's due to the perk Save the Best for Last, which is insanely good on the Hag. It's going to cut down your time between your hits, meaning that once you've teleported you can get a hit and chase the second survivor who's just been rescued and get a second hit, which is absolutely huge for snowballing. As you can see here, we get 2 downs, which is phenomenal. So like I say, we're just reiterating the point about looking at where you're hooking with the Hag. We've hooked this Nia just outside of our 3 gen. We've got a trap a little bit further away from her, so the survivors have to crouch from further away, and it gives us a bigger chance of actually capturing them if they trigger it. And also we've set a trap at the top of the stairs in case they decide to come from upstairs. It's just making sure that all of the lanes that they can enter through are covered. Now in this clip you will see just how strong the Hag really is. Even though they didn't trigger the trap, they had to run because I was going to catch up, and there you go, look at that, another down on the Nia, who has just been unhooked unfortunately for her, but that's just the way that this game is sometimes. A key tip to playing Hag is not to panic when you start to lose your traps. Don't be scared to take a little bit of downtime to pop another trap down in one triggered trap's place. It will do you the world of good. As you've just seen, we took a second and it actually got us a down. We replaced the trap that was near the hook and it got us the death hook on near, which is absolutely great. So don't forget that. Always replace your traps. Now do be careful that you're not overly replacing them, but if you have a second of downtime, make sure you use it well and make sure to replace the traps. Now we could start a chase here. We've seen a survivor, she's quite in the open, but we decide to put traps down in more important areas as we are a defensive killer, and it is way more important that we have a secure web for the survivors to have to navigate through than to try and secure a second down. We've got 1 dead at 4 gens, so we're in a really strong position just to solidify our area of the map. So at this point the survivors had pretty much just given up. Unfortunately, they realised that it was clear they weren't going to come back from this, and that's really the strength of the Hag, especially being able to get somebody out so early. You've got to be such a careful individual when playing against the Hag, and that's what we need to use to our advantage, especially when playing against Swifts, who tend to be more altruistic in their approaches to things and try to save their friends, which gives us a huge advantage. Now straight away you'll see the first tip that we gave you is identify the 3 gen. So as the camera's spinning, we're looking at generators. We take a look around now, we're looking at the white gens, we're looking at the red gens, we're seeing where the best 3 gen is, where we should set our web up, and luckily there's a 3 gen with our ruin inside of it, which is absolutely huge, amazing. This trap we place a little bit inside of it, so when the survivor runs past it, they'll actually get snapped into the wall and it'll really throw them off when I'm chasing them. So straight away we see an Ash on a generator. We're not going to chase. We are going to pop a little trap down next to the generator just for security's sakes. Usually it's not that great of an idea to put traps at generators, but in this case I just wanted to test the water, see if I could catch him out if he went back to the generator. So straight away at the beginning of this chase you'll see that we done the same thing we done with the Felix in the last match. We place a trap down right in front of the pallet, force them to run the wrong way, and eventually actually get the hit due to the trap, because we forced them through the trap. We get the teleport and a nice easy hit for us. So like I say, it's extremely important knowing where to hook with the Hag, and the basement is an especially powerful place to hook with most killers, especially trap based killers. So we decided to hook the Ash in the basement, and that gave us control over our side of the map, our web, and also the basement, which is insanely powerful on the Hag, and you'll see just how much damage we actually done. Yep, so like I say, it's always a good idea just to take a second of downtime to actually replace triggered traps that are important. Like we do here, we actually let the survivor go because they would have took us upstairs, and that would have given somebody an opportunity to run in and rescue from the basement, which we didn't want. So we just replaced the trap and went back to defend our web / generators, and that's pretty much one of the greatest ways to play the Hag, is defend your territory. So these survivors were actually a little cheeky. They thought they could sneak in while the other distracted and baited us into a chase. It didn't work, and that's why we always check down the stairs in the basement, or sometimes you even want to just take a second to go down into the basement and have a look around, just to make sure that they're not trying to do some sneaky play and actually get like a secret rescue while you're in a chase and got no traps left. Now unfortunately the survivors did decide to DC, which sort of fucked the whole entire team off after the basement hook. So we didn't get that much more out of this game, but as you can see, I'm just solidifying the win by placing the Ash within our web, replacing a really important trap, which is at the TNL wall, also next to a generator, forcing them to run away from that loop, and also have to be careful while approaching the generator. And you'll see just after this that we got some amazing value from a trap that we place in the very beginning stages of the match. It's the one that we placed at Shack. We catch somebody in there. We actually decide to chase, which is usually not that great of an idea, but we were in a winning position, so we could afford this. And there you go, look at that. Got some actual value from a trap that we placed in the first 30 seconds, which is awesome. So I really hope that you learned something. Maybe you already knew all of this, or maybe you're just a complete new player to the Hag. I really hope the tips helped. They are tips that I've learned over a lot of time playing the Hag and also watching others play the Hag, and I found them very useful. Hopefully you will too. You'll have great success and be getting plenty of 4Ks in no time, because I understand that the Hag is not the easiest killer to pick up and learn to play in this game. Thank you very much for watching. I do lots of guides like this on my channel, so if you're interested, maybe check some of them out. Maybe they might give you some tips that you didn't already know. Yeah, so thank you.